Hello, guys. Welcome back to Get Real with Jasmin. If you see me with a microphone, you know that we're going to talk today. So, I decided to do a yapping session for every month. So, today is July yapping session. For the record, today is actually, I think, 29th of July, even though this video will probably be posted after July. Um, and the reason why I decided to do this yapping session is because a few weeks ago I saw my video when I just started to do YouTube. And if anybody knows, that was actually the darkest time of my life. But when I was watching those videos that I filmed, I looked so happy when I was doing YouTube. And I really miss that. I feel like somewhere along the way I kind of lost that pure joy that I had when I first started YouTube, because then I started to think about the hook, the thumbnail, the titles. Like, it became very strategic. And this is not to say these things is bad or I don't enjoy doing YouTube right now, but I think it definitely took away some of the fun from it, because I think every video start with a very specific topic. But when I first started, like, it was so random and I would just be talking about like some random racist joke and just things that happened in my life or just whatever. And I really, really miss that. So this yapping session, hopefully I can upload it every month. It's really for myself. So like, if you don't want to watch it, like, you don't have to. So first thing first, how have you guys been? Like, literally, please tell me in the comment, like, what has been going on in your life. Are you happy? Are you not? For me, July has been a very difficult month. There was just a lot of things that was buried deep down in me, all came back up and like scream at me at the same time. And these are like the trauma or like the triggers I didn't even know was there. And that's why I was like constantly facing all these fears, doing a lot of inner work and stuff. But what I want to yap about, guys, the first thing I want to yap about is the last straw that really kind of broke me was yesterday. Air France. Yeah, you know that company. So yesterday, Air France rescheduled my ticket to 2 days later of the original schedule. And I'm like, who the fuck does that? Like, you cannot just change people's flight to 2 days after. It's not even 2 hours later, it's 2 days after, and expect that we could just be fine with that. Like, what the fuck? But that's not over. So after that, I was like, okay, now I'm going to cancel my ticket and I'm going to, maybe book another flight or whatever. But here's the tricky part. Once I filed my cancellation, they kind of just disappear. They are not processing my refund, which is really bullshit. Because even at the email, when they notify me they're changing my flight schedule or whatever, they did mention below that you can file for a refund and they will refund everything to me, which makes sense because you literally change the flight schedule to 2 days after. But now I try to call them. I'm trying to be like, what the fuck? This is my money. You should give it back to me. They're like, oh, no, this is not our responsibility. So right now, I actually didn't have that money back and the ticket is canceled. So I literally don't know what to do. I knew there were bad news. I should have known when they refused to talk to me in English on the plane. I should have known at that time. But I learned my lessons. I would not fly with Air France ever again. And so right now I really don't have any solution. I have tried to contact everyone and nobody's giving me a response. So I don't know what to do. Maybe you guys know. Maybe you can let me know if you have ever experienced something similar. But also after this, like, it has been bothering me for 2 days and I'm like, enough is enough, because I cannot focus at work. I cannot sleep at night. I was just constantly stressed and refreshing my emails like every 2 seconds. And I'm just like like, I'm not going to lose my shit for these fucking company that are irresponsible. I can't do that. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to take back my power. I'm going to just move on and do something after. And that's why I decided to complain with you guys over here. But yeah, that's it about Air France. And like I said, because July is such a difficult month, so I also learned a lot of lessons through these chaos. I want to share with you guys what I've learned this month. I know this yapping session is super random, but it is going to be very random. It will be a lot of like jokes or something that doesn't even provide value. It's just me yapping. But today I actually want to provide some value. So I want to talk about what I've learned in this month. The first lesson is the universe will keep on presenting the same lesson to you, maybe in different form, until you finally learn your lesson. Something happened to me this month that was so similar to what happened to me 2 years ago. And I remember when that happened, when this thing happened to me 2 years ago, I felt really humiliated. And I remember just crying all the way home. And so when this happened again 2 years after this month, I was like, what the fuck? Why the hell is the same thing keep on happening to me? And of course, I've been through a very negative phase where I was just complaining to God. But somewhere it hit me like, sometimes God present you the same lesson just to see if you've learned your lessons or not. And the best way to know whether you learn your lessons or not is how you react to this similar situation. So when I had this realization, instantly I was like, so how can I react differently this time? Instead of crying, complaining, and just fall into this endless loop of negativity. Because I think a lot of times when the same thing presented to us, our first response would literally be like, why me again? Why not other people? Why do you do this to me, God? But I think if you can change your perspective into, but how can I react differently this time? Like for me, my lesson this time was about separating the problem from my identity. And I think that is a lesson for a lot of people, because like when something that humiliating or some problems occur into your life, a lot of times we start to associate that with our self-value and our self-worth. So we could be like, oh my God, I'm such a loser. I am never going to be good enough because this and that happened to me. But for me, when I decided to react differently this time, it was about like just seeing the problem as a problem, but seeing myself as myself. The problem is there, but it doesn't say anything about my value. I decide my value. I decide my worth. And that is such a huge shift. Then I get to really see the problem as the problem. I can finally solve it. I can solve it from a more objective and strategic mindset. And so, yeah, if you're going through the similar time in your life, maybe try to ask, why is the same lesson keep on happening to me? Maybe there's something I need to learn here. Maybe I need to react differently this time. So then I finally learn my fucking lesson, and the universe is not going to present the same lesson to me again. And also, one thing I realized is that every time you learn your lesson, there's always a blessing that is after this lesson you have to learn. Because a lot of times, in order to receive the blessing, you need to learn that lesson in order to have a stronger mindset or the capacity to receive the blessing after that. For example, if maybe you got cheated on or you met a really shit man that ghosted you, and it could feel really, really shit, right? But if you can actually see that thing as a lesson, you learn like, okay, maybe I need to know how to set my boundary. Maybe I need to know how to feel worthy on my own instead of seeking external validation. So when the right men show up, which is after this shit man, then you will not miss out on this guy, because when you meet this right person for you, You actually have the capacity. You actually have a great relationship with yourself. So you will not lose yourself in this right relationship again. So yeah, that's really what I believe in. And lesson number 2 is, if you have to constantly prove your value to somebody, then you will never be valuable to them. This is a trap I fell into time after time. Especially, I grow up in a family where I have to work to earn my worth. So a lot of times when things didn't go my way, when people don't like me, or people kind of undervalue me, I don't know if that's a word, but my first default action would be, okay, then now I need to work harder to prove that to you. So using hard work to earn their approval always worked when I was with my family, but it didn't work the same way when you are in a job or you are in a relationship, when these people are not obligated to love you unconditionally, right? And I realized in these situations, every time I started to try to do more to earn their approval, the result never ended well. And I always ended up losing myself and being so burned out and feeling really resentful towards a person, because I would be like, I gave and give and give, but then you never see me. But the truth is, they never asked me to give at the first place. And I think the reason behind this about people is that when they have a certain perception on you, for example, they think you're not valuable, either it's a guy or either it's your boss, okay? They think you're not valuable. This is a filter they have on their mind already. Even you do a lot and trying to prove your value to them, deep down, they just believe that you are not valuable. The only way for you to be valuable to them is literally to remove the filter on their brain, which is literally impossible. It's easier to just leave the table. Just think about yourself. Okay, I am very guilty of this as well. When I don't like a person, literally no matter what they do, even when they do something good, I would secretly be like, she just tried to please people, or like, she's so fake. Like, this is literally how our brain work, you know? And some people, like, deep down, they just believe that you are not valuable. Then sometimes the best thing to do is not to do more to earn their approval, is to be like, you know what, fuck it, leave the table. Because sometimes when you stop chasing, when you stop earning, this is when you detach, and that's when you get your power back. And when you get your power back, a lot of times they will end up chasing you, because now they know your value. Now they know what life is like, what the job is like without your present. Lesson number 3 is, healing is a process and being healed is not the goal. So like I said, July is such a difficult month for me, and I was really triggered by a lot of things that I didn't know was there. And so that made me realize maybe being healed is not the goal, because there is a possibility that we would never be completely healed. Because we as human beings, we are so deep. We literally don't know how deep we are. And so if being healed is the goal, then it would really feel like it's never going to be enough, because no matter how much you try to do, how much you try to progress in life, you will just see like there will be more trigger that comes up to you. And I have this theory that maybe the universe only present us the lesson we can handle one at a time. So they gave you like 1 or 2 triggers at a time that you have the capacity to deal with and to solve it and to handle. What I learned this month is that a lot of triggers that was being presented to me, I don't have the capacity to deal with that 2 years ago. If this thing happened to me 2 years ago, I don't think I can survive it. And I'm saying this because I think a lot of times, especially when people started to do their inner work, you get addicted to fixing the problem. Like, oh, this trigger happened. Okay, I'm going to try to solve it. Okay, tell me what's next. What's the next trigger I need to fix? And then you just started to train your brain to look for the problems. And that became very, very exhausting and never ending. And that's a blind spot a lot of people didn't see. Even I didn't see it when I first started to do inner work. I get really addicted. I kind of like was addicted to seeing the problem, like, oh, I get this trauma, I get this fear, so now I got to fix it. And it was just like I was constantly like that. So when there's no problem in my life that needs me to fix right now, I will actively look for one. But when you keep all your focus on fixing the problem, you ended up being not present at all, because now your life might be really all good, and it's time for you to enjoy. It's time for you to receive the blessing. But because you're so fixated on fixing the problem, so addicted to that, you ended up pushing the good things away, because fixing problems become your new normal. I hope that makes sense. Let me give you an example. So I am a big believer that if you have fears, you should face it and you should try to overcome it. But one of my biggest fear is cockroach. Oh, that's so gross. One of my biggest fear is cockroach. And if my focus is constantly fixing the problem, then I should just go to the street and grab like 10 cockroaches in order to overcome my fear for the cockroach. That does make sense, right? But it's not important to me right now, because where I live here, I don't see any cockroach, which, like, thank God there isn't. And so trying to overcome my fear for a cockroach literally don't make sense right now. But say if one day I have to move to a jungle, which is a really bad example, but hopefully I will not. But if one day I need to move to the jungle, I need to live there, then yes, it will be very, very important that I overcome my fear for cockroach. So I hope that my point makes sense. It's not about solving every single problems, and it's not about being healed or never being triggered again. It's really about dealing with what's matter to you right now, what's presented to you right now. And when there is none, then just enjoy your life, have fun, go out with your friends, because I guarantee you, and you guys probably know this already, life is never short of problems. There will always be problems again and again and again, no matter how much money you earn, no matter if you get your dream job or not, no matter where you are in life, there will always be problems. And yeah, so these are the lessons I got for you today, and I hope you guys enjoy this yapping session. Let me know in the comment how you guys like this yapping session. If you don't like it, don't tell me, because I'm going to keep on doing this for my own benefit. And thank you guys for listening to this or for watching this. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.